What's up, everybody? Welcome to Sleep Atomic, and we're discussing Andor, Episode 8, Narkina 5. So, we could probably start off with the starting points of everyone. This episode, ideologically, is pretty seamless. It's going to one idea to another one pretty freely and easily connecting very well. First, Cassian is getting his sentence finished out, and he learns where he's going, and it's Nikita 5. And flying, and I'm sure going to jail for 6 years is pretty stressful enough. So combining the two in a rickety little like transport, I'm sure is very, very stress inducing. And then next person down is Cyril in the order of the episode. And he's like playing like a traffic game, like that Cars puzzle game or something. I'm not sure what he's doing. It shows his screens, but apparently he's been sending like some sort of inquiries to the Empire to warn them about Cassian and what's going on there. And with this episode, there'll be fairly crossed paths from very far ends of the storyline. And this one brings Cyril to Deidre because she's the person doing the, I want to say like talk off, but it's like kind of like a debriefing looking thing. And they're more or less on the same like goal trajectory. But Deidre didn't need a person trying to give clues. She already has like soldiers and workers helping her. Cyril's just like a security guard or local police. So to Cyril, it kind of looks like she's like not with it and not wanting to do anything about it. I mean, until like he gets her attention like right before she leaves the last time they interact in the episode. It's like, yeah, you mentioned something relevant like once, and sure, that might be helpful, but I got like 50 other guys like doing that, and it's already something they only do, which I'm sure sounds like something else entirely, but the message is pretty clear, and he only chanced the first one, but to her there will be nothing else going on further, and I'm only going so far as the 8th episode, so. And I know since they're all in the show, there's no way they can't not interact one more time, but she's cutting it off there. It's kind of funny because, again, like it sounds like something else, but she even like bureaucratically like leads them off to another direction, hopefully. But we all know Cyril, he's gonna stay on it, like somehow. But it makes me wonder about a few high collar things. That makes me just go, oh, yeah, oh. All of this was all over at the deep end instead of like the receiving end. And then we have Bix, and she's just now hearing about any sort of rebel thought from Marva, and I guess she must have like gotten a fever or hurt herself from trying to clear out this underground path so the rebels can have access to it or use it. But as a community, Brasso and Bix come to aid her and just provide her some sort of support, while all the while slowly things are like weaving together, and we notice Vel in the background and Cinta eventually, and they're also all on the same goal in this group of needing and wanting to find Cassian. Very strange, just because everyone's wanting to find Cassian for various reasons. And like how he's visually being interpreted and his actions are being interpreted to everyone else. And you could ask yourself after seeing this that did he really leave? Or can he even really leave? Because the next thing Bix does is go out and try to reach out to Luthen, and Luthen and his assistant is not ready or available to respond to Bix, and she spends most of her time like in that little tower trying to like fractal Morse code or whatever they call that to Luthen, but Luthen's hands forced more or less by circumstance and his assistant to cut ties, but he has hopes in Vel and Cinta's like actions without him having to interact with them. But we find out that Luthen also needs to find Cassian, and he's been waiting to hear from him or look for him. And then later we run into Saw Gerrera, but he's ultimately going to be a part of the movie stuff that they are all a part of. But we might as well say he's looking for Cassian as well. But he's really just there to have a end destination and to remind everyone that Forrest Whitaker is pretty awesome. I'm sure whenever they talk or meet up, eventually he'll be like, I have been or been in it. He almost seems to get the least amount of like story time, but he already had the most to do before the whole season even started. And he's even in Jedi Fallen Order for a little bit, or for a level. I probably should say world, because that's how that works. And there'll be the second Jedi Fallen Order coming up as well. In that he offers to take in Cal Kestis to the rebellion. I doubt they'll bring in Cal. Maybe they'll have some sort of like regalia that alludes to him somehow. But the point is, Saul Guerrero is like out there, like interacting with a lot of factions between everyone involving anything with the galaxy. Luthen is too, but he's more closer to the common people or the citizens or everyone else not involved in every day is a hectic blaster fight. There were a few, but there was not a constant hail of blaster fire. We don't really get to hear much from Cassian as a person when we actually see him on screen, but he's already like provided in the contrast of why everyone's looking for him. It's like the community, something about the garrison. We need you to go here. These people want to chase you, and these people need you to be their bad guy. But of course, what would it be without the worry of money of some sort? And we go to Mon Mothma, and we finally get to see her have a nice moment with her husband, but then Tay comes and abruptly ends it while trying to convey some news to Mon Mothma. And every other scene he's in, he's starting to like, oh yeah, like things are actually going good, but it always seems like he's in a good bad mood or a bad good ending mood. Whatever it is that it's going on between him and anyone else, or him and definitely Mon Mothma, is pretty tenuous at best. Like he'll have to change moods, or he'll want to, and something else happens. So it's a little different from like Marva or Bix or Braxo. Uh, they have the one mood they're usually in, and then if someone like reaches out to another one, even if it's just a little change, they'll be seen as like a drastic measure something drastically changed. Even if it's just like muscle memory or their faces have seemed to have settled in the way that they're usually like addressed in or addressing people with. Not that they can't like smile or like notice something good, but it's usually like connected to some action that's directly correlated to that. From when Mon Mothma's husband just can like, oh well, this one's in front of me, so I guess I'll go with what's happening. And there could be like some undercurrent, and he'll still seem like a different mood, but it's just like all there. So do what you will with that information. The most things being said about him is just that he's not the breadwinner, so he's not like the leader of the family, I guess. And then the discussion drops off there with what only can be summarized as like someone saying a comment or saying a kind of a rude name about him, but it's like nothing further than that. All the ones I heard were not even going to the direction that he was gonna like get her in trouble or like go against her more than just like not saying something, like whenever they were talking to the daughter and she was like, "Oh, you're just trying to get attention. Like, dad could just take me to school." I just wanted to give him some analysis before I moved on because I don't think they even say his name too often. Again, everyone's looking for Cassian, and Mon Mothma seems to have obtained him somehow, like through his actions. She's the only one that's kind of like trying to conceal something. Daedra and Cyril, Luthen, Bix, Marva, Brasso, Vel, Cinta, they're all looking for him and waiting for him to show up. They're going to where he's going, or they're repeating what they did some other time to run into him again or get in contact with him. But apparently, where he's aimed at, it's towards the Senate. Whether he likes it or not, hopefully he'll see eventually. It might have been just little things before even the heist at the Aldani garrison, but now definitely in a big way. Since the Aldani garrison, he's been doing things toward and built around things from the Senate, things that you wouldn't think would affect them at all or would even notice. And he's like almost like indirectly getting punished for it anyway, even though he got away with it. A little bit of karma harshing his vibe. It's almost like why he's like kind of like settled in so quickly and like doesn't seem to be sitting there like telling everyone's like how he's so innocent. It's like, yeah, dude, I get it. Like, you don't have to convince me. But I hope you don't go and see that and like it's like, oh well, he's not saying he's innocent, so whoever it is, even if you like take this elsewhere, that they're up to something. Even it's like I don't want that, but I did want some sort of like maybe awareness to be had, just because I noticed it and I wanted to see if any other people noticed it. Otherwise, it's just a nice review. Even though if they had caught him, I don't think they would have just sent him to a work camp or whatever that is. A work prison. A brand punishment for the Empire is not reforming somebody, so almost as if the Empire is like setting them up to see like their aspects of the Empire. Cassian's just kind of like getting a first-hand uh, representation of what the Empire is like. The Empire is just like, yes, you see how bad we are? Oh, yeah, like, see, like, all these, like, things, like, you could do without, or but if this was like the actual government, it's like you could do better. Even like you want to come help us. But this is the most extreme version, or like extreme caricature version of it. It's like, yeah, infiltrate, like do what you need and change the empire from the inside. Like there was all gas like against the empire. There's no one just like about to change their mind and then go to the empire here. But you could draw some lines and see where you could just do that in like regular life. Cassian's just there, like seeing the biggest chink of the armor, and then where should be the most solid thing of the empire, like I guess the prisons. And then even if it was like me, but Cassian's like, it's like, I don't know, man, you have to try really hard. Like not even like just a little bit is like a lot. This is all the way, and like you have to like have your guard up and everything. It's just like, hey, really? Like tungstoid steel? Like, okay, like you really can't use that for anything else. And then after the fact, you could just kind of just like think back to Cassian just like enjoying like a regular like it's probably like more than 9 to 5 like steady like work. Even though at this point he knows he's got 6 years ahead of like just that. He's at least like not like that one guy that steps out onto the live floor like in the middle of the night when the tungstoid steel's like activated, and to unofficially quit, we'll say. It looks like his only real trouble is like having to wait or like work as a team with people. Like he's taking a breather, but it's only because like that older dude like can't get this little bearing in or something. And like he's probably like ready to keep going until like the shift's over or whatever they call it. But he gets reprimanded, and then he doesn't give anyone the side eye, but it's like, well, you notice me taking a second to myself and not the old guy not being able to do his thing? But like whatever, like he's an elderly man, and it seems like Cassian's like open gambit pretty capable of dealing with the whole situation, or most situations actually. But we'll see like how he starts scheming. Like I'm sure there's no way that he wouldn't, him being in the situation no one would want to be in. He's doing pretty well. He hasn't broken mentally at all. Maybe he even like collapses his train of thought and builds it up every day or however long of a period. So that's nice to see. It's probably the director, but the Empire seems to be like, oh, nope. They're testing him, like, he's still about the same. It wasn't his clothes this time. I thought it was Ferrex before, but now he's out of Ferrex, and he's still like that. And even when he's on the beach planet, everyone seems to want to cause him some trouble if they seem to size him up at all. But oh, what will he do? But I'll leave that there, and we'll continue on in episode 9, Nobody's Listening. Or maybe I should be like, Nobody's Listening. This was Sleep Atomic, and I'm Alistair. And I'll see you next Andor review. And if no one has told you today, or this week, this month, you look good. And it's great. Don't worry about it, just show it off.